Welcome back. Our next guest is the New York Times bestselling author of We Were Liars, now a #1 show on Prime globally.
Well, she's here to talk about the latest installment of her Liars series called We Fell Apart. Please welcome to the social, Lockhart.
Thanks for having me. So good to have you on the show. Okay, so as we mentioned, this book is the 3rd installment in your Liars series. We Were Liars, Family of Liars, and now We Fell Apart. So for anyone who's unfamiliar with you, tell them, what is the series about?
All right, well, these are beachy, gothic mysteries with romance and then a big cry.
Good.
And it's best if you read We Were Liars first or see the show. And then you can read the other ones in any order because they're not like a traditional sequel. They're like in the same universe, but they're each their own story.
Gotcha.
Well, keeping on that idea, like you were very coy about information on this new book, but what we gather is this is neither a prequel nor a sequel. So if so, how does it fit into the series?
So I started out thinking I was writing a standalone novel. And it's about a young woman who gets an email from this father that she's never known, and he turns out to be a famous reclusive painter. And he says, come to my, beach estate and meet me for the first time. And she shows up, and he's not there. Instead, there's a stepmother that she never knew she had, a half-brother that she never knew who she had, who is almost exactly her same age, and 2 super hot teenage boys. So Matilda gets sucked into kind of the world of this summer that she's spending in this kind of derelict estate that is full of mysteries and intrigue, and she kind of goes into the world that these teenage boys have built for themselves, and there's romance, and then all of them are lying to her, of course. So I was writing this book, and at the same time I was working on the TV show of We Were Liars, which is, my first ever TV show. It was a big deal for me, and I was...
It is a big deal.
And so I wrote the finale, and I was an executive producer, and I helped with casting, and I was on the set for 10 weeks, and blah, blah, blah.
In Nova Scotia?
Yes, in beautiful Nova Scotia. Yes, if you know the town of Lunenburg, you will recognize it in We Were Liars. It's so gorgeous. Anyway, so there I am writing this novel kind of on the side and working on the show at the same time, or mornings on the book and afternoons on the show, or whatever's going on. And so the world of We Were Liars kept sort of bleeding in to the world of We Fell Apart until I realized that I was really writing another book that was solidly in the same universe. So people who like We Were Liars, they can get their Sinclair family fix in We Fell Apart, but it does have a new cast at the center.
We love that. Yeah. Well, thematically, the Liars series, it does focus on these very wealthy yet very dysfunctional families. Why is that a dynamic that you think seems to work so well?
Well, I mean, one thing that people say to me a surprising amount of time is, this is my family. And that does not mean that their family owns a private island or that their family is like a whole bunch of, white old money Democrats who think that they deserve everything they have. What it means is their family fights. And, so many young people grow up and realize, oh, the people in my family are actually embattled with each other, or maybe they're a little toxic, or maybe they're a lot toxic, and maybe I want to separate or rebel, right? It's about that moment in development where you start to question your family of origin.
Right. All right, so I want to ask you something that's very fascinating. So We Were Liars first came out in 2014, and it was already a bestseller. And then during COVID, thanks to Book Talk, you saw a huge resurgence in the popularity of this book, which is fantastic. So did that viral experience change how you create your fan base? Like, now when you're writing, are you thinking about, oh, maybe this will go viral, or are you just kind of writing really just from an authentic place?
I have no idea how to write from a this will go viral place. Like, I mean, I would take a lesson if there was a lesson, but
You don't know.
I'm just trying to write a good story. But the fact that all these people were making, the kind of Book Talk videos they made were not like, here's a book, it's fun, it has a mystery, there's amnesia, there's a love story. It was like, I freaking hate this book, WTF. Like, it was like that, crying, snot coming out of their noses, right? So, that was a gift, right? That was a kind of vulnerability and sharing about an experience reading a book that I was so thrilled about. And so I wrote the second book in this universe, Family of Liars, kind of as a gift back to my readers.
Lovely.
So good.
Lovely.
So you mentioned the show. You were very involved with it as an exec producer and casting and writing the finale. And you say that there's actually one thing that made you really, really proud about how you made it. What was that?
Well, I really can't take credit for this. It's really due to the showrunners, Karina Adley McKenzie and Julie Plec. But like I said, this is a white, old money Democratic family that owns this private island, right? And there are two characters of color who come to this this island regularly and are a huge part of the story. Both of them are Indian descent. Gat, the love interest, and his Uncle Ed. And the showrunners hired 4 different writers of Indian heritage to work in our writers' room. And they had, you know, they were at different levels of experience, and some were sort of more drama, some were more comedy. They were amazing writers, but they were generous and shared their lived experience and also didn't always agree. So there were 4 people thinking about how to deepen and develop these characters better than I ever could have. So I felt very good putting that out in the world with that, you know, additional layer of truth and nuance.
Yeah, which is a fantastic thing for you to do. And you say there's a certain flexibility to be had when casting characters. Talk to us about that whole process.
Well, I'm not a casting expert, but I found this process fascinating, and I watched every single video and was there for all the meetings. And one thing that happened was, you know, for our 4 leads, the character of Mirren, who is played by Esther McGregor in the show, in the book, she's actually quite different than she turned out in the show. And the reason was that when we saw Esther, we fell in love. We kind of collectively were like, oh my God, this actress, she's so vulnerable, but she also has this like wonderful kind of pixie spirit and this intense beauty, and yet you believe that maybe she's insecure and that people think she's a little weird. She had this wonderful spirit, and that wasn't really what I wrote. That was different. But the showrunners adapted the script and developed the character once we cast Esther to make the most of what Esther was bringing.
Oh, that's
Good for Esther.
Very
Good for her.
intuitive. I'm sure this is a question that many people are wondering. Are there plans for more books?
Maybe. I had a meeting with my editor the other day, so the Random House would like another book, but my next book is a standalone. It's called The Pools, and it comes out in October, and it is also, you know, moody, gothic, romantic story where bad things happen to nice people.
We love that.
Well, these are nuggets that you can only get from the author herself. So thank you for sharing.
Thank you.
This is so fun. And congratulations on the Liars series success, truly. Thank you.
Thank you.